This hairdresser, who's been a hairdresser for some 17 years, is saying that basically she's been coloring it with just regular color at the scalp. Excellent choice. Covering it every 6 weeks with great coverage, but only using a Demi permanent on the rest of her hair for about 10 minutes. Never using bleach or anything of that nature. How would I approach this? And almost always chemical damage or severe damage can come from such things as higher volumes of peroxide, whether it's the retouch initially that causes the damage or if you've done it, if you work it through afterwards. And it looks like you're using a Demi, so I would encourage you to make sure that that Demi has only 10 volume developer through the ends. In fact, you might even want to take for a while, and you might want to add equal to your peroxide, add that much purified water and cut it down from 10 volume to 5 volume. So that's one thing. But we have to remember that demi-permanent dyes are permanent dyes, or they're a combination of permanent dye with semi-permanent dyes that require peroxide to develop. And so they're definitely going to have peroxide in them, not necessarily a bad thing. We've already talked about how we can manipulate the peroxide. Because demi-permanent systems, dye systems, tend to use ethanolamine or MEA, what happens to the hair is that it will tend to lighten the hair, make the hair fade a little bit, maybe even fade brassy. But also MEA does not, or ethanolamine does not rinse from the hair very easily, and so it's a little bit hard to do. I'm going to recommend that you consider using a deposit-only dye system. Those use aminomethylpropanol or AMP. This is a much gentler alkalizer. The AMP is a much gentle alkalizer, and so it's not going to have a tendency to want to lift or anything. It's only going to want to deposit, and that's better. So that's one thing to consider. Another thing to consider is the fact that you want to make sure and demineralize the hair at this length. I would say at least twice a month. Use a gentle demineralizer on it, and then a very intensive protein. Now, let's say, for instance, you're not real protein savvy. An easy way around that is to use a good oil. And because your hair is pretty thick looking, pretty heavy looking, I would recommend you use Moroccan oil, pretty heavy stuff. Your hair looks like it could handle it just fine, so I would do that. And every time I got the hair wet, every time I was going to wash it or it was just plain wet, I would be sure and use an oil like that to seal in the moisture from tap water as best you can, and then go from there. I would also recommend a spray on conditioner last step. Reason why is you've washed your hair, you washed out the color and everything. Now your hair's the pH of water, and that's just a little bit alkaline. Let's get rid of that. No more alkalinity. So finish up with an acidifying spray. Leave in oil. That oil would work really, really well. That would help to adjust the pH. And those things would make a big, big difference. And then caution with your blow dry. Now, if you've ever had any kind of experience like this, doing your hair or others, please let me know, and let's see if we can't get a consensus on how we can help this young lady to improve her end result on her hair and on her client's hair.